Hello and welcome to another Intro to Programming tutorial. In this tutorial, we're going to be solving the problem number 2 for this week, which is about displaying the sum of the first 5 multiples of the first 4 positive integers. So as we have done in our previous logic, that we need to first of all look at the problem and figure out what remains fixed and what changes in every iteration. As we want to do the first 5 multiples of the first 4 positive integers, that means for every multiple that gets generated, the positive integer will going to remain fixed. So that means we can use our outer loop to include the generation of the positive integers, and we can use our inner loop to run for 5 times. That means every time it runs, it will going to perform the multiplication of the outer loop variable, which is the positive integer, and the inner loop variable, which is the multiple number by which the outer loop variable will be multiplied to generate the multiple. So this is how we're going to be setting up our logic. Now this is half of the logic. The other half of the logic is that we need to be generating the sum of all the multiples that gets generated. So first of all, we need to multiply the two numbers, which will be the outer times inner. And then the next thing we got to do is we need to add every time a multiple gets generated to a variable that we can declare called sum. So let's declare a variable over here called sum of type integer. And every time we run through the loop, we would like to generate the multiples and would like to add it to the value of sum. So in order to generate the multiples, we can simply multiply inner and outer. And if we write something like this, this will be logically incorrect, because what this will going to do is it will going to generate the multiples of outer and inner, and we're going to store it in sum. And every time this loop runs, the value of the sum will be overwritten by the new value, and the previous value will going to be gone. We need to preserve the previous value, and we will going to add to the previous value. So this is basically what we're going to be doing, is that multiply outer and inner, and their product should be added to the existing value of sum and then stored back in sum. And this inner loop will going to generate the first 5 multiples, and then we're going to store them in sum, and then we're going to throw the output. So here, when I'm outside of this loop, I can pretty much go about displaying the output. So here I have my statement that says sum is being displayed outside of the inner loop, but it is within the outer loop. However, there is one logical problem. When I run this program, you're going to be able to notice this, that the sum of all the numbers from all the multiples, the first 5 multiples of 2 should be 30. It's coming out 45 and not coming out. So I'm going to try to fix this problem. So we're now going to try to fix this problem, and we're going to be overcoming this logical issue, and that's happening because we're accumulating the sum for all the numbers that are getting generated. What we need to do is every time the sum gets displayed for one particular number, we need to zero out the sum, so that in the next iteration the sum is generated after the resetting. So let's make this change of setting the sum to 0 after the sum gets displayed. And now let's try to rerun this program. And now you will be able to see the output that the sum is 15, 30, 45, and 60. Now we can put some appropriate outputs here, which we're going to say this is the sum of which number. So here I have made a modification to the output statement. Sum of first 5 multiples of whatever number it is this sum, and then setting the sum to a value of 0, so that next time it is back in the outer loop, the sum is actually 0 and starts computing the sum from scratch. So now after making this modification, when I run it, now it gives me the output that the sum of first 5 multiples of 1 is this, first 5 multiples of 2 is this, first 5 multiples of 3 is this, and first 5 multiples of 4 is this. So in this particular problem, we had one extra variable that we started to work with, which was sum, because that was needed by the logic. So outer loop was pretty much used to hold anything that was not changing for all iterations of inner loop, and inner loop was pretty much holding the variable that would change for each iteration of the loop. So that's how pretty much you go about making the decision what to control by which loop. Hope you would have enjoyed this tutorial. Catch you in the next one. Thank you for watching.